Incorporating infographics into your social media strategy? Excellent idea! But before you get started, I have some tips for you to help you enhance your content and wow your followers. Hello world, my name is Mike Ploger and I'm here with Visme, an online tool which empowers everyone to create appealing, thought-provoking infographics, social media content, and so much more. 3 seconds. That's how long an average social media scroller will spend on any one piece of content. However, if you post an effective infographic that locks in a viewer, that number is all but forgotten. In this video, I have a number of tips and real-life examples showing you how to create social media infographics that will boost your engagement, grow your following, and improve your web traffic. Let's begin. Staying on brand can sometimes be easier said than done, but you want to make sure that your infographic is always relevant to your brand. This is a good time to remember who your target audience is and what questions they might be asking themselves. This is your opportunity to answer those questions that people didn't necessarily know that they should be asking. Take a look at this infographic here from ListHub. This is a company that showcases home listings for both home buyers and home sellers. In this infographic, they reminded viewers that unpacking into a new home might not be the final step. By thinking of a topic related to their business, they were able to inform past and potential customers of necessary information and engage them with their brand. I learned something by reading this post, so now I want to see what else ListHub can teach me when I'm ready to move. Finding a relevant topic to your business should always be step number 1 when building an infographic. Remember, 3 seconds. That's it. That could be the difference in someone engaging with your brand or continually scrolling down their newsfeed. An attention-grabbing headline is as important in an online infographic as it is in a newspaper article. Keep it short but substantial. Make it big and easy to read, and don't be afraid to make a big claim to really intrigue a reader. I immediately know what I'm getting into here with this infographic thanks to its popping headline. Now, the term infographic didn't just sprout up out of nowhere. You have to find that perfect balance of text to images. The last thing anybody wants to see is an endless block of text when scrolling down a timeline. You're practically begging them to move on, and it will show in your post performance. This infographic here, created with Visme through our own online design tool, is a great example of info to graphic balance. Contrary to what one might believe, white space, aka empty space, is imperative to a design. Weird, right? But when you think about it, a cluttered image loaded with graphics or text is often confusing and unattractive. It turns audiences away, so you don't want to try too hard to fill every single pixel of your infographic. If you're unfamiliar with the term, white space is just empty space between text or graphic elements in an image. Despite its name, it doesn't have to be white. This Visme infographic flawlessly implemented white space with that purple background in between the design elements and the margins. The infographic is clean and orderly, making it a much more joyful viewing experience. Another tip to ponder is where you want your viewers' eyes to go. What will they see first or second? How about third? Whether you want them to read from left to right or from top to bottom, you must make that easy for the viewer. Utilize white space, as we just discussed, and create an infographic that guides a reader through each piece of information. How can you easily do that? Well, give me about 10 seconds and I'll tell you, but first, check out this infographic. The creator did a great job of creating a visual flow. Lucky for you, this exact template is available on Visme's website right now. Also lucky for you, it's not the only one. Let's get to some more. Want to make it super easy to guide your readers? Implement literal flow elements into your infographic. I'm talking arrows, triangles, lines, numbers, anything that will literally guide a viewer where to look next. The creator of this infographic chose numbers and lines to achieve visual flow in between all of the design elements. Now, a great design can attract a viewer, but the data within an infographic can be the difference in a message resonating with your audience or possibly not. Whatever you do, make sure you use information that is 100% accurate. Use data obtained by your company, as you can vouch for that source. Otherwise, look at government findings for reliable information. A Google search isn't a bad route to take, but as they say, you can't believe just anything you read on the internet. Make sure the information you collect is from a reputable source and of course makes sense with your topic. Also take note of where you get your information. I'll explain why it's important to have later on in this video. Have you ever seen a tweet that was inaccurate? Did you look at the responses to that tweet? Other accounts may have been pretty unforgiving of the original tweeter. You always want to make sure that you look in more than one place for factual information. Yes, you might love a statistic that you saw on one website, but are other websites reporting that same stat? No. Well, either keep looking or lean towards finding another piece of information that also relates to your content. Fact check, fact check, fact check. I cannot say it enough. Now, we've all heard of the line graph or the pie chart or the bar graph, but did you know that there are 44 types of graphs that you can use? When inputting your data into an infographic, you must first decide which graph will best represent your information. It doesn't have to be just one graph. You can use multiple graphs as we see here. There's a line graph, pie chart, bar graph, flow chart, all in one infographic. Whatever relevant data you use, there's a graph available to you, making it even easier to visualize. There's another case that we're going to explore here shortly, where we'll see multiple graphs all in one infographic used flawlessly. You're probably watching this video because you want to get creative and take your social media posts to another level, right? So don't lose sight of your creative hunch. You may think that bar graphs and pie charts are a tad boring, but that's exactly why I bring you pictographs. A pictograph will use images to represent data. This one here uses graphics of people to represent different statistics. If you're not feeling the pictograph, that's fine. Maybe an icon chart is much more your style. An icon chart uses a single icon or design element to present data, as we have here with the statistic about Instagram video. These are great for social media as they're simple and don't contain an overwhelming amount of information. This infographic took a number of recognizable icons from the internet and input them into an infographic about the internet. Get creative and have fun with the process. Remember, your final draft doesn't have to be your first draft. More fonts, more problems. Stick with 2 or 3 fonts max with your infographics. You should typically have one typeface for your header and another for your copy. Too many fonts can often look sloppy, so you want to make sure that you keep it clean and simple. And if there's one specific font that you like, that's excellent. Take advantage of the weights and styles of that font. Make it bolder and heavier in the title and lighter in the copy. Everything will be uniform and much more appealing to your reader. Now, how about types of fonts? Cursives, hand lettering, stay away. After all, are they even teaching cursive in school anymore? I don't know, but you want to make sure that you stick with fonts that are easy to read even at the quickest glance. These are your serifs and sans serifs. Just look at the difference here and how much easier it is to read the infographic on the left rather than the infographic on the right. Some of this text is actually very small, maybe too small, so let's talk about sizing. Now, with how quickly people are scrolling through their social media feeds, you gotta grab their attention fast. Perhaps the easiest way to do this is with big fonts. Now, they don't all have to be massive all throughout the infographic, so make sure you're conscious of the different sizes you're using in your infographic. Bigger fonts are easier to read, so find that happy medium in order to fit the relevant information. Sometimes an actual photo can be the best way to visualize your topic. Rather than plugging in various design elements, an image can sometimes be more powerful. There are different ways that you can use photography in an infographic. You can place the image next to your header, you can cut out specific elements of an image and place them next to data points, or you can use the image as a background, as you see here. Thanks to its rarity, this is a sure way to grab someone's attention in an infographic. Too much of anything in design can become a bad idea. And just as we saw with fonts, it's also true with colors. Don't use any more than 2 to 3 primary colors in an infographic. If you go over that number, a viewer will start to feel overwhelmed and lost. Look at Visme's infographic here. By keeping it to mostly purple, white, and a shade of turquoise, the image appears clean and orderly. Yes, you can see some other colors in there, but they are minuscule in comparison with the rest of the image, so there is zero disruption to a viewer. When it comes to contrast in your design, you only want to focus on one main contrast element. This could be your colors, maybe a green to an orange. This could be your fonts, pairing serif and sans serif in one image, or other design elements like using some photography and some icons. This header here uses contrast in a couple ways, but the creator made it work. You see that popping green against a dark background. You also see a slight difference in fonts. We still recommend only contrasting one of your design elements, but you can't take away from this header's natural beauty. A great way to take advantage of an infographic is to add your own specific design touch. Show some personality. Check out this resume. Sure, he might not be posting it to his Instagram or his Facebook, but it could be a lovely addition to his LinkedIn. Rather than using an everyday resume, he formatted and designed an infographic to showcase his background and his skills. You see the various bars and graphs we discussed earlier, and I love the touch of a cartoon portrait. Think outside the box on where you could turn an ordinary document into the latest and greatest infographic. If your infographic is starting to become pretty lengthy, don't panic and feel the need to change up your design elements. Stay consistent all throughout your infographic. It'll be tempting to want a fresh color or font, especially after staring at the same image for so long, but all of your design elements should be consistent from top to bottom. See here, this infographic would require some scrolling in a newsfeed, but as your eyes reach the bottom, notice how the icons, fonts, colors, they're all the same style all throughout the infographic. Staying consistent, as we have here, is key when creating a design that seamlessly represents your data. When it comes to social media platforms, one size does not fit all. An infographic on Instagram will appear differently from an infographic on Twitter. However, to help you, each platform has an optimal size. If you haven't already, now is a great time to get out a pen. The optimal sizing for images or graphics on Facebook is 940 by 788 pixels. Notice how it's not the same number, so it's not a square. You could use a square on Facebook, but a horizontal image, like the one we have here, will work best. A vertical image would work for those scanning on mobile, but you can't go wrong with 940 by 788 as we have here. With Twitter, images should be a minimum of 440 by 220 pixels. You could increase that by any 2-to-1 ratio, but again, this is better than using square or vertical images, as the tips of your infographic could be cut off. This infographic is the perfect dimension for Twitter, and it's actually an editable template available right now on Visme's website. If you like it, see what you can come up with your information. Now Instagram, that's the perfect place for your square infographics. The ideal sizing is 1080 by 1080 pixels, and you can stretch this number slightly and it'll still appear square. But if you plan on marketing on Instagram, plan ahead and make sure that your infographic is perfectly square. Once again, we see another infographic template that you can edit right now on Visme. Notice its shape and how perfect it is for Instagram. Now last but certainly not least of the platforms is Pinterest. There may be no better social media platform for an infographic than Pinterest. Optimal sizing is anything with a 2-to-3 ratio. The best part is if you're sharing an infographic on your website, it can likely plug in right away to Pinterest. You would have to crop your infographic for other platforms. This Visme infographic used the 2-to-3 ratio to highlight the benefits of watermelon. The infographic could actually be longer, but it must not breach that 1 by 2.8 ratio size. That's where you're going to run into trouble. A great way to drive a viewer to your website is to tease an infographic on social media. Take a snippet of your full infographic, maybe 1 or 2 of the data points that you've made, and throw it into a mini infographic. Then use that mini version to tease the full version, enticing a viewer to click on a link. Just make sure that the information you're including in the tease is compelling enough to make a viewer take another step before seeing the big picture. There are a number of ways to break up a long infographic or display 3 simple infographics on each platform. With Facebook, click on the photo video button to upload and immerse yourself in the options available as seen here. There's carousel or slideshow, allowing you to show different sections of an infographic all at once. Instagram has the option to upload more than one image in a single post. Modern Finance takes advantage of the option to swipe by creating a Q&A for their followers. And when it comes to Twitter, simply create a thread, adding replies onto your original post. Since you're the creator, your followers will be able to see each infographic broken up into their own posts. Now, since you don't have the space and your reader might not have the attention span, keep your infographic to just one topic. Think of it as creating a children's book rather than the next great novel. This infographic may appear long to the human eye, but the content is all concise and concentrated. There's one message: how to write compelling infographic copy. That's it. And actually, after thinking about it, maybe it would be a good idea to revisit this infographic once we're finished. Playing off of our last few tips, one great way to simplify an infographic is to focus on just one piece of data. If you don't want to worry about fitting your infographic into the optimal sizing that we discussed recently, shorten your infographic into just one piece of data, as you see here. Likes, comments, traffic, yeah, it's all great and dandy, but what you really want are shares. Therefore, don't be bashful when you post your content. Don't hope people will share it. Ask for it. Turn on social sharing in your posts and add a pin it option on your website for Pinterest. Include share this with your friends in the actual infographic to give viewers a next step. Nothing beats others promoting your brand for you. Visme provides this option to share right away with the icons located in the lower right side of this infographic. Another template that we have available right now. So where did you get your data from? Better yet, how do I know where your data is coming from? It's imperative to cite your sources within your infographic so a viewer can trust you. It could also save you from some legal trouble down the road, and you can see here how they used it in the footer of this infographic. It's nothing major, but now I know as a viewer where this information came from, and I can make a decision if it's a reputable source or not. Now, you may have noticed in a number of these examples that Visme's logo or website is located somewhere in the infographic. Well, simply put, it's because we made that infographic. It might seem small, but it's important for people to know in order to create brand awareness and recognition as the content is shared. Once again, we see Visme's logo in the bottom right-hand side here, and for any and all infographics that your company shares, make sure you do the same. All right, congratulations, you have made it to tip number 27. As you're about to embark on creating your own infographic, perhaps the best way to begin your journey is to start with a template. Make your life easy. There are hundreds of options to choose from, and it will save you countless hours in design. Icons, charts, all the design elements that we've discussed in this video are right there at your fingertips, and of course, it's all available on Visme's website. Check out visme.co and head to the infographic builder to get started. You've already taken step number 1 by watching this video. Now it's time to get to work. Make sure you enjoy the process, and don't forget to check out and subscribe to our channel, where we have even more design tips and tricks, where we cannot wait to see what you come up with in your own design adventures. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Mike Ploger with Visme, helping you make information beautiful.